Introduction. The world of ideas is no less turbulent than politics or technology. Liberals defend freedom, conservatives uphold order and faith, socialists demand equality, and environmentalists call to save the planet. Each ideology offers its own vision of justice and shapes laws, economies, and social values. This overview presents the key ideological currents that define the modern world, their principles, methods, moderate and extreme forms, and their impact on economies and social stability. Keep reading to understand how these ideas shape nations, from Europe to Asia and the Middle East. Liberalism. Principles. Liberalism upholds individual freedom, private property, equal opportunity, and limited government. The goal is to protect personal rights, promote democracy, and support an open market. Methods. Reforms through parliament, strengthening legal institutions, supporting free media, and economic deregulation. Forms. Moderate. Social liberalism, a balance between free markets and social welfare, e.g., U.S. Democratic Party. Extreme. Neoliberalism, minimal state, maximum market freedom. Impact. Liberalism encourages economic growth, innovation, and entrepreneurship. However, excessive deregulation can lead to inequality and social polarization, undermining long-term stability. Conservatism. Principles. Conservatism values tradition, stability, religion, family, and patriotism. It emphasizes gradual change over revolution, moral order, and respect for institutions. Methods. Strengthening traditional institutions like the church, army, and family. Influencing society through education, culture, and media. Forms. Moderate. Christian democracy, CDU, Germany. Extreme. Reactionary fundamentalism seeking to restore a golden past. Impact. Conservatism promotes social cohesion and predictable economic policy, ensuring continuity and order. Yet excessive rigidity can slow innovation and adaptation to new realities. Social democracy. Socialism. Principles. Social democracy seeks fairness, equality of opportunity, and protection for the working class. It combines market mechanisms with strong social policies. Methods. Implementation through progressive taxation, social welfare programs, protection of labor rights, and ensuring universal access to quality healthcare, public education, and equal economic opportunities. Forms. Moderate. Social democracy, represented by parties like SPD in Germany or Labour in the UK, seeks equality through democratic reforms and welfare systems. Extreme. Revolutionary socialism or Trotskyism pursues complete class abolition and radical transformation of society. Impact. Reduces inequality and builds public trust, enhancing long-term social stability and cooperation. Yet high taxes, bureaucracy, and overregulation may limit innovation and business growth. Communism/Marxism. Principles. The vision of a classless society with collective ownership and equality for all. Private property is abolished. The state manages production until it withers away. Methods. Historically, these methods included revolutions, national movements, and strict centralized economic planning. Today, they rely on legal political parties, organized trade unions, social campaigns, and broad civic activism. Forms. Moderate. Euro-communism, a democratic, parliamentary-focused adaptation that seeks socialism through reforms and civic participation. Extreme. Stalinism and Maoism, rigid authoritarian systems marked by centralized power, coercion, repression, and personality cults. Impact. Communism enabled rapid industrialization in countries like the USSR and China, yet it produced inefficiency, chronic shortages, repression, and limited innovation, ultimately weakening long-term growth. Nationalism. Principles. The nation is the supreme value. National identity, language, and culture must be protected and strengthened through unity, shared heritage, and a collective commitment to preserving traditions. Methods. Patriotic propaganda, firm defense of national sovereignty, strict restrictions on immigration, broad cultural mobilization, and public campaigns aimed at strengthening civic unity and shared identity. Forms. Moderate. Civic nationalism, grounded in shared citizenship, democratic values, and loyalty to the state while rejecting xenophobia or exclusion. Extreme. Ethnic nationalism or fascism, asserting inherent superiority, demanding cultural purity, and dividing society. Impact. Nationalism can unite populations, inspire purpose, and mobilize economies in crisis. Yet when extreme, it often drives isolation, sanctions, heightened tensions, and ethnic conflict. Methods. Direct communication through social media platforms, mass rallies, emotionally charged slogans, symbolic imagery, and simplified promises designed to mobilize broad public support quickly. Populism. Principles. Divide society into the pure people and the corrupt elite, framing politics as a struggle between ordinary citizens and distant power holders while promising to defend their voice. Forms. Moderate. Social populism, fighting corruption, promoting fairness, and demanding greater economic accountability from leaders. Extreme. Authoritarian populism, attacking institutions, centralizing power, and suppressing opposition for personal control. Impact. Short-term economic boosts through subsidies or heavy debt-driven spending, but long-term instability emerges as institutions weaken, fiscal discipline erodes, and governments struggle to sustain growth. Fascism. NEO-FASCISM. Principles. State supremacy, nationalism, and obedience to strict centralized authority. Rejects democracy, liberalism, and socialism, enforcing rigid unity through coercion. Methods. Militarization, pervasive propaganda, systematic suppression of dissent, and the cultivation of dominant personality cults that shape public behavior and neutralize opposition across society institutions. Forms. Moderate, strong, proud patriotic nationalism that emphasizes cultural unity, national identity, and collective purpose. Extreme, totalitarian fascism, absolute dictatorship, systematic repression, militarism, and aggressive expansion. Impact. Fascism may create brief economic surges through forced unity, militarization, and expansion, but these gains are unstable and ultimately collapse, bringing devastation, broken institutions, and very deep human suffering. Feminism and gender progressivism. Principles. Equality of rights and opportunities for all genders, opposition to discrimination, advocacy of bodily and social autonomy, and promotion of inclusive policies improving societal fairness. Methods. Legal reforms, wide-reaching public awareness campaigns, improved civic education, community engagement, and sustained social activism aimed at strengthening democratic culture. Forms. Moderate, liberal feminism, focuses on equal opportunities, legal rights, and dismantling structural barriers that limit women's participation in society. Extreme, radical feminism, rejects traditional gender norms, challenges patriarchal institutions, seeking change. Impact. Boosts workforce participation and social fairness, strengthening economic productivity, resilience, and civic stability. In extreme forms, it can trigger cultural backlash or deep polarization. ECO-GLOBALISM/green ideology. Principles. Environmental protection, long-term sustainability, reduced ecological impact, and intergenerational responsibility guiding policies and action. Methods. Climate policies, eco-legislation, global cooperation, environmental activism, sustainable technology adoption, green finance frameworks, community education, and cross-border resilience planning aim. Forms. Moderate, pragmatic green politics focused on renewable energy, sustainability laws, and environmental protection across democracies, such as Germany and France. Extreme eco-anarchism or radical climate activism, including disruptive movements like Extinction Rebellion that demand rapid systemic change. Impact drives innovation in clean energy and new industries, boosts resilience, yet can raise output costs, burden heavy industry, slow growth, and cause short-term strain during transitions. Libertarianism principles: personal liberty and private initiative are supreme. The state should interfere as little as possible, promoting free markets, voluntary cooperation, and minimal regulation. Methods: tax cuts, broad deregulatory reforms, and sustained advocacy through influential think tanks, policy institutes, academic programs, and public education campaigns designed to shift economic priorities. Forms: moderate. Economic libertarianism favors limited welfare, deregulated markets, and expanded personal freedom. Extreme. Anarcho-capitalism seeks full abolition of the state, shifting policing, courts, and services to private voluntary systems. Impact encourages innovation and entrepreneurship, accelerating new industries and creative growth, but can also widen inequality, weaken social safety nets, and deepen societal fragmentation across communities. Christian democracy principles blends Christian moral teachings with democratic governance, stressing community bonds, family stability, social justice, solidarity, and shared civic responsibility today. Now, methods: participation in parliaments, shaping moral legislation, supporting church-linked social programs, influencing civic behavior through education, community outreach, and advocacy at reinforcing traditional ethical norms. Forms: moderate, exemplified by European conservative parties such as Germany's CDU/CSU, focusing on stability, tradition, and democratic governance. Extreme, theocratic currents that aim to replace civil authority with divinely mandated rule. This shows the range. Impact balances moral stability and economic moderation, preserving trust, social unity, and shared values, though it can at times restrict cultural liberalism and slow social change. Islamism/political Islam principles: Islam framed as a comprehensive political, social, and moral order, seeking governance rooted in Sharia and aiming to reshape society through religious law and communal authority. Methods: these include broad civic participation through elections, as seen with AKP or Ennahda, as well as more confrontational revolutionary resistance directed against entrenched, secular regimes in various states. Forms: moderate. Islamic democracy integrates faith, governance, and social responsibility, promoting community welfare while maintaining religious values. Extreme jihadism, violent, coercive enforcement of strict religious law, rejecting pluralism and state authority. Impact: moderate Islamism helps preserve traditional social structures and maintain moral cohesion, while radical currents isolate nations, intensify conflict, weaken institutions, and undermine long-term economic stability. Judaism/religious Zionism principles emphasizes the sacred bond uniting the people of Israel, the Torah, and the land of Israel, viewing the modern state as a vessel for fulfilling a continuing divine mission. Methods: religious education, coalition politics, sustained legal activism, community mobilization, and strategic engagement with public institutions, all guided by long-standing rabbinic authority and tradition. Forms: moderate. Parties like Shas and United Torah Judaism, which emphasize tradition, community stability, and pragmatic cooperation within Israel's political system. Extreme Messianic Zionism, a current that seeks to merge religious destiny with state authority. In summary, impact strengthens national cohesion and identity, reinforces cultural continuity, and can inspire collective purpose, yet may intensify internal divisions, limit pluralism, and complicate economic policymaking. Hindu nationalism principles: supremacy of Hindu culture, religion, and traditions over foreign influences, stressing national unity, cultural revival, and the central role of Hindu identity in shaping society and politics. Methods: cultural education, religious mobilization, political activism, community organization, and nationwide campaigns promoting and reinforcing core Hindu values across society. Forms: moderate, cultural nationalism exemplified by parties like the BJP, emphasizing heritage, identity, and social cohesion. Extreme, militant religious nationalism that elevates majority faith and uses intimidation or violence to marginalize minority communities. Impact: enhances social unity, boosts domestic consumption, and strengthens community confidence. But it can also intensify ethnic tensions, discourage foreign investors, and undermine future broad stability. Buddhist nationalism. Principles: Buddhism as the spiritual foundation of the nation, shaping identity, guiding ethical conduct, and serving as a tool for moral purification and collective cultural resilience. Methods: monastic movements, cultural activism, political influence by religious orders, educational outreach, preservation of sacred traditions, and moral guidance shaping social values across communities. Forms: a moderate, patriotic Buddhism that merges spiritual practice with cultural identity, promoting unity and social stability within the nation. Extreme, hardline religious extremism, exemplified in Myanmar, where radical groups justify coercion and violence against civilians widely. Impact: can unify society around shared ethics and collective identity, yet radical or exclusionary forms may trigger ethnic hostility, suppress diversity, and weaken long-term economic and social cohesion. Conclusion: modern politics is far more than a clash between left and right. Ideologies overlap, evolve, and combine. Liberalism fuels innovation. Conservatism ensures order. Socialism balances inequality, and religious movements preserve identity. Each contributes something vital, yet none provides perfect harmony. Understanding these worldviews reveals the deeper logic behind policies and conflicts, and reminds us that the future of economies and societies depends not only on power, but on the ideas we choose to believe in.
Hello everyone. I am very excited to share my new YouTube video with you, and I need your support to continue to bring quality and enriching content. If you enjoyed my content, please help me by like the video. It helps me reach more people and spread the message. Subscribe to the channel using the subscribe button below so you don't miss any new update or video. Press the bell to receive notifications every time I upload new content. And if you would like to support me directly and help me create more content, you are welcome to join me on Patreon. Your support is significant for me and allows me to continue investing in creating quality and enjoyable content for you. Thank you so much for joining and watching. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. See you in the next video.